Let's see. We are in West Virginia, headed to Hebron, Kentucky. Hebron, Kentucky, which is basically outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, to pick up a load. And we is gonna chat. I'm gonna try to cut this volume up so y'all can hear me. Like I said, we hands free, keeping it safe. Y'all, I just left the Dollar Tree decorating my truck for the festive Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, yes. Love is in the air. Love is in the air. I'm gonna get up out of here though. I want to talk to y'all. I was having a conversation today with my brother, aka Mac J. Um, and we was talking about owner op leasing and being a team driver or in being a company driver and the differences. And I've only been driving since 2023, basically. I think I was going right. I think, but no, I was supposed to go the other way. We finna turn around. But no, I've been driving since 2023, and I've learned a lot about the trucking world since 2023. Why? Because I talk to people, my own personal experiences, and listening to stories of others and their own experiences. I tend to have an open mind when it comes to a lot of things, and I don't judge people. So when I first got into trucking, started inquiring about trucking, I didn't know that you could lease a truck. Uh, or be a company driver. I didn't know what they had to offer. I just was trying to basically get my CDL and get on somebody's truck and get the rolling. Now, I watched my husband start with Prime, and he decided to go leasing the truck. And at Prime, you can lease a truck with them. They're expensive because they got the hot new shiny trucks, and you paying your settlement weekly, plus your insurance, your fuel comes out of that, all of that good stuff, and then you left with a certain amount, and you're responsible for taking care of your own taxes. Now with Prime Inc., they make a percentage of the load, which is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? They make a percentage of the load, so they can make anywhere from $15 to $3,000 on a load. So if you're a good runner and you run a load every day, once your settlement is paid and once your fuel is paid, you can come home with a nice check. Keep an account, you got to account for, paying your taxes and stuff like that. And, you have to acquire your own, health benefits and stuff like that. So, company drivers, you get in, of course, you get the cheaper benefits. They take the taxes out for you, but you only get paid by the mile. Now, my thing is, I'm a firm believer in my finances ain't your finances. So you do what you do what's best for you. So if you feel more comfortable coming out and not taking on the responsibilities of paying a truck payment every week, um, and you're not comfortable with doing that right off the bat, then be my guest. Go ahead, jump in, be that company driver that you want to be. Long as you feel secure, and at the end of the week, you know you getting paid, and it's enough to take care of what your bills cost. On the other hand, if you feel like, hey, I don't want to get paid cents on the mile, I want to make a percentage of the load. I don't mind paying a truck payment every week, whether I end up buying a truck or not, or whether I end up buying a truck. I want to make more of my money with the time that I'm spending, all that precious time that you're spending out on the road, away from your family. But if at the end of the week, when your settlement hit, all your stuff is paid, like your truck payment, your insurance, and stuff like that, and you still got enough money to take care of your bills and still live comfortable, I'm down with that. I have never discouraged anybody from doing what they want to do, whatever is comfortable with them. But I hear so many conversations of truckers. How y'all doing? If y'all saying something, hey, I really can't read it. I gotta drive. I gotta watch the road. I always go back, watch the comments, and comment on them. I appreciate the love. Make sure y'all hit that like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you. But I've never been the one to discourage anybody from what they feel they want to do. But you hear a lot of truck drivers when you tell them you leasing. Why are you doing that? You paying out so much money, and they're screwing you and all this other kind of stuff. Hey man, listen. And 9 times out of 10, this be from somebody that ain't never even did a lease, ain't never owned nothing, ain't couldn't afford a pair of shoelaces, trying to tell you you shouldn't be leasing a truck. That's not what I'm on. My thing is, whatever you decide to do, make sure you do your research in it. And my thing is, a fail is not a try. So if you tried and you get out there and it didn't turn out the way you figured you wanted to be, 9 times out of 10, it's all about planning and preparation anyway, and watching your fuel consumption and taking the right loads. You know what I'm saying? And that comes with trial and error. But I don't really listen to people with that negative stuff. And 9 times out of 10, they're a company driver. And then when you tell them to pull out that check stub and put it up against that settlement, they broke as hell. They bring home $400 a week, and they doing a cash advance every week because they got to drive I don't know how many damn miles just to make an honest check every week. So I've never been that kind to sit up there and talk about something that I don't know nothing about. I've been a company driver and I've been a lease driver. Matter of fact, the first time I ever did a lease was with Western Express. And boy, was they screwing me. You know, because the loads wasn't efficient enough, and you still had to drive I don't know how many miles. You wasn't making a percentage of the load. You was still getting paid pennies on a damn dime on a mile, and then you still had to pay that truck payment every week, in insurance and fuel. They didn't even get no fuel discounts. The fuel discounts with Western Express was 10 cent off a gallon. What the hell is that? I can get more of a discount on my fuel with my Kroger's Plus card. So yes, when I first started out, I wanted to do leasing because I saw what my husband was doing at Prime Inc. But two different companies, two different entities, and I learned hell to the no. Okay, and so then when my mama passed and I got out of trucking and I went back into trucking, I went back to Western Express, but I went on as a company driver. But when I went on as a company driver, y'all, I was doing flatbed. I did flatbed with Western Express for like 6 months. And of course, with flatbed, you get paid more on the mile than you would a dry bed. And then on top of that, they pay you that little ass money to put them heavy ass tarps on that shit. But your girl did that shit for 6 months. Excuse my language, but I just gotta keep it real. But I did that for 6 months as a company driver. They had really good benefits as far as your insurance, your eye care, your dental work, and all that kind of stuff. They had good insurance. And with Western Express, I mean, if you ain't lazy, they gonna give you the miles. They gonna keep you rolling. And I stayed rolling. So I made good money as a company driver. So my thing is, it's all about the company and it's all about your work ethic as well when it comes to making some money, whether you lease it or whether you a company driver. I don't knock either or. To me, where I'm at now with Hirschbach, I mean, I'd be skeptical to come on with Hirschbach as an OTR driver with them because of that slide pay scale that they have. And as a lease driver, I just feel like it ain't worth it. But I do ride for Hirschbach, and I'm on a dedicated account. And no, it's not no guaranteed weekly. You know what I'm saying? You still got to get out here and grind. It's a flat base pay for each load that you take. You know what you're making before you accept this load, and on top of that, you get a fuel surcharge. So haul, your fuel surcharge, you know what I'm saying? And then if you take a load out of Memphis on a Saturday, it's an extra $200 spot. And I did pretty good as a company driver with Western Express. I did pretty good. Hey, how you doing? Um, so I just wanted to get on here and talk about if it's anybody out there that's new into trucking and you started out as a company driver, don't be knocking leases. Do your research, check into it, talk to some other lease operators, and see what's going on. And if you feel like it works well for you, then go ahead and do it. Don't be scared to do it, because the worst thing that can happen is you don't like it, okay? You can always switch back to a company driver. You know what I'm saying? But always go, because when it comes to leasing a truck, hell, they all screwing you. You know what I'm saying? They all screwing you, but I want to be with the company that's going to screw me the least. And one of the kickers about working with Hirschbach for lease drivers, our fuel is only 99 cents per gallon. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm going to the pump and I done got 100 gallons worth of gas, that's how much I spend on gas. But the pump might be reading for 100 gallons, $300 and some dollars. You know what I'm saying? So not only am I getting a line haul and a fuel surcharge, they paying me for fuel, but I ain't paying how much they paying me back for the fuel. Because they giving me the average price of diesel in the United States, which is $3 and some change. That's what they paying me for. But in the end, I'm still only paying 99 cents per gallon, so I'm doing good. And then if you only fuel your truck versus to the miles you gonna drive and just a little bit more, you ain't over fueling your truck anyway. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you want to keep fueling there in the winter months. You don't want to be caught nowhere up in no Rocky Mountains or anywhere where it's gonna be cold and you ain't got no fuel in your tank. I don't play like that. I'm either at a half a tank or more at all times. And if I'm below a half a tank, I'm headed to the fuel stop. But I'm running a load every day, so I need my fuel. So, like I said, it's a benefit to me. You know what I'm saying? But if it's anybody that's looking to get into trucking or that's already in trucking and that's a company driver. Oh, and then another benefit to being a lease operator. Another benefit to being a lease operator is you can go home when you want to go home. Ain't no staying out 3 weeks, then you're home for 3 days. You can go home when you want to go home, but just know when you go home, that payment's still going to keep on rolling. So what I do is, if you're trying to go home, save up on the side what your payments are a week. And if you got in your savings at least a week worth of payments, go ahead and take you a week off. You can take you a week off. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when you come back, you're gonna be in a hole. But at the same time, when that settlement come out, you ain't really gonna have nothing because you was off for a week. But you still got money in your pocket. You feel me? Because you done already set money to the side to compensate for you being off. And if you want to even if you don't want to take a week off, you know what I'm saying? If you want to take more than 3 days off, maybe you want to take 4 days off, 5 days off, you can do that. Just make sure you set money to the side to where when that next settlement come out, you ain't hurting for no money and you ain't sitting up here trying to ask these folks for no cash advance. And they do that, But to me, you steady getting behind. Been there, done that. Don't want it. And and just hold on to your money and make sure you setting up to pay your taxes. You can pay them quarterly or you can pay them yearly. Whichever is feasible for you. But at the end of the day, Uncle Sam gonna want that money. So I'm saying all this to say, hey, leasing is fine if it works for you. Company drivers is fine if it works for you. Point blank. What are you doing dedicated? What are you OTR? Or what are you regional? Do what's best for you and don't let nobody tell you something about something that they don't know nothing about. The first thing you want to ask is, have you ever had a lease? Have you ever been a lease driver? If they tell you, no, man, stop talking to them. Because it trips me out when people are so opinionated about shit they ain't never did before in life. They ain't never did. And then they be forgetting what they be saying. And then when you get to talking to them, they like, man, I'm really thinking about leaving this company. Like this one lady gonna tell me she had so many opinions about the lease drivers. And she was a company driver. And she had been sitting up there at the terminal for a week waiting to get her truck fixed. The lease drivers, shit, they coming in with problems. They getting in and out of there. She's like, why y'all getting y'all truck fixed before I get my? I don't know. Maybe it's because you a company driver. Shit, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. When we sit, it's costing them. It's $250 every 24 hours that we sit and our truck ain't working. That's $250. What you get paid as a company driver? What, $100, $50? If they give you breakdown pay. You know what I'm saying? So she's sitting up there talking to me. She been sitting up there a whole week. I done came in not even to get nothing fixed, and they done found something on one of my tires, and I done got in and out of there, and got my stuff set up for my next load, and she's still sitting there looking crazy. Then she started talking to me, and when she talking to me, she was like, I'm really thinking about leaving this company because it's always a problem when it's time for me to go home. I live way in El Paso, and it's always hard to find things to go out to El Paso, and I'm behind on my rent. And girl, I just got a check for $400. What am I gonna do with that? And I'm sitting up here like, hold on, man. You just sat up here and told me how you wouldn't know lease driver, and you telling me as a company driver you doing 500 miles a week and you only bringing home $400. That math ain't mathing. So I said, how you only bring home? I don't mean no harm, but I'm gonna ask some goddamn questions. And if the shit don't make sense to me, I don't give a damn who you is. You ain't finna just be talking to me and talking out the side of your neck. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't that bubblegum with me. I'm nice, ma'am, and respectful, but you ain't finna just tell me no anything and then try to make it seem like what I'm doing ain't worth a damn. Got me fucked up. So I'm like, how'd you on the road, you done did 2,500 miles and your check ain't but $400? I said, did you get a cash advance? Well, yeah, I've been having to get a cash advance because I haven't been, the way that they've been running me. The way that they've been running me, and then I'm sitting around and I'm waiting at a load, and then, y'all, it just sounds like a bunch of bullshit. I said, well, let me tell you something. So listen, I don't be bragging, y'all. I just be trying to give folks the real deal information. Ain't no shame in my game. So I pull out my settlement. I pull it up. I said, ma'am, this what I'm making. You know what I'm saying? I said, how many miles you drove last week? I drove 2,500 miles. Okay, look how many miles I drove. 2,500. Look how much money I made. What I brought home. She was like, yeah, but you paid out so much. I said, yes, but you didn't pay out shit but Uncle Sam and your insurance, and you still only brought home $400 damn dollars. And you away from your family every day. And you got a sick mom and a child that a handicapped adult child that you need to be helping. You know what I'm saying? And you only bringing home $400 a week. And you live in El Paso, Texas,